Thank you, Zoom Master. Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmaster club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am Pulkit Gupta, your sergeant at arms of the meeting, and I'm joining from India. Here's our club mission. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self confidence and personal growth. Here's our leadership statement. Leadership Speak is the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has virtual hand raised, so we all can immediately see who is keeping the time. Our Toastmaster today will be leading our meeting, and it's my pleasure to now introduce her. Our Toastmaster today is an economist and project manager and has been a Toastmaster for more than 10 years. In her opinion, the theme of today's meeting embraces clear vision, best practices, and above all, failures which can be used as springboard for greater results. Please join me in welcoming Toastmaster Youselee, our Toastmaster of the day. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Sujit at Arm. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, colleague Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Wherever you are joining today, we are delighted to welcome you at Leadership Speak. Welcome to you as well, who are watching on Zoom. And thank you to those who will take time later to watch the recording. Dear guests, we will share a guest book in the chat throughout the meeting. Please fill it out so that we can connect with you at the end of the meeting. If you will not stay for the whole meeting, you can still fill out this form. We will reach out to you via email. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today's theme is high performance leadership. This theme makes me think about the athletes. Athletes in all kinds of sport, especially the team's sport, their performance, and the excitement of the supporters. I come from a country where soccer is the most popular sport. I am myself a supporter. I love watching the Brazilian soccer team. And we all know that Ray Rivero loves the Argentina team. Thanks, Ray, for the t-shirt. And here in Canada, the most popular sport is ice hockey. For some other parts of the world, it's cricket or rugby. We don't watch our favorite sport just for the accomplishment of a 100% successful result. Do we? No. We watch also our favorite sport for the beauty of the game, the perfect tactic movement of our favorite players. We are ecstatic and find the game marvelous. For Ray here and Brahm Memone, Messi has 2 golden feet. Yes, it's because of his high performance. And we invest our money and time for the sport that we love. This perfect delivery of the players is the fruit of a high, elevated standard, relentless training, clear role for everyone in the team, having a unique vision, trust between each team members, and accountability. I can add as well self-discipline. All of us here love to see beauty. And the standard of beauty is also applied in the word of leadership or at a Toastmasters club. So what is high performance leadership for us who are learning about leadership? High performance leadership is when a leader is able to flex their style of leadership according to the situation at hand. As the athlete, high performance leaders aim to achieve exceptional results over a significant period of time and are required to manage their mind, emotion, and high performance leaders requires commitment from the leaders. Becoming a high performance leader is a journey of self-discovery and continuous growth. For you today, I bring some point to become high performance leader. Set, as I mentioned earlier, set clear goals. Define your personal and your professional goals. As we are at Toastmasters, your goals regarding your growth at your Toastmasters Club. Having a clear mission, a mission and one mission for the group to do not go here and there. We have one mission, clear goals, and we all know what is our role in achieving these goals. And each member has well-defined goals, having relentless training. What we are doing here at Leadership Speak, twice a week, we have relentless training to help us becoming high performance leaders. And at the end, self-discipline. It's not enough to be part of the group who have clear vision, one mission, training, and all of that if personally we don't have self-discipline. Self-discipline by setting the example. Be the example. Be the one that you want to see in others. By having self-discipline, you will inspire others to do as yourself. As we are here today to enjoy this meeting on this theme, high performance leadership, I encourage you all during this meeting to put some thought in the chat. as well to your thought on the theme high performance leadership, and to put your thought as well after each performance of the speaker to show that you are participating in the mission of having wonderful meeting here at Leadership Speak. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, enjoy, and participate. For today's meeting, the toast will be presented by Toastmaster Gilda Schlah. For Toastmaster Gilda Schlah, high-performance leaders make a significant impact on others. To be high-performing leaders, it's important to visualize achievement by training relentlessly and increase resilience. I welcome on this virtual lectern Toastmaster Gilda Schlah to present the toast on the team.
As Tim Notker, a wise high school basketball coach, once said, hard work beats talent. These words echo that dedication and perseverance can overcome even the most exceptional natural talent. Ladies and gentlemen, Toastmaster of the Day, leaders, and guests, greetings from the USA. A legend hockey player, his name is Wayne Gretzky, was considered and till today considered the most talented player in the hockey arena. He earned his nickname, the Great One, and he wouldn't trade it by any other title because this title was given to him by his fan. Gretzky inspired everyone by his high performance leadership, selling individually while simultaneously elevating his team's performance through tremendous teamwork to achieve many accolades and to achieve the ultimate prize at the end of every hockey season, which is the trophy of the Stanley Cup. Wayne Gretzky's incredible leadership was his speed and easy landing on the ice, scoring from difficult corners and angles on the ice that inspired his teammate and inspired the rest of everyone. And gave him an edge over his competitors. And that's why he became the great and the most valuable player in the team or in the people who know Wayne Gretzky and pay close attention. They know that he's not only the greatest player in the arena, but he is the player who practiced more than any other player in the sport. From early age, Gretzky took up figure skating, learned many hard moves and tricks on how to land and accelerate on the ice. Trained more, incorporating these moves with the hockey training. And when he came on the next day for training, he showed his other teammate how you could do it and help them achieve it. scoring from difficult angles. For him, it was like a breeze. But it did not come just naturally. He would not stop training or scoring from any difficult corner until that score in the net becomes a natural move for him. He was intelligent. He was talented. At an early age, he realized that he was able to merge his vision with his performance and dedication. He continually pushed himself through practice to achieve his goal, and he wouldn't stop until he achieved the high performance he visualized himself do. Ladies and gentlemen, here at Leadership Speak, we embody the same spirit. We don't practice our role, we perfection. We believe in training between and practice between meeting. We value the feedback and the coaching and the mentoring we receive from each other in the training. Incorporate everything and add it to our accomplishment. So when we come to the next training between meeting, we are closer to our goal, which is high performance leadership. Leadership Speak is one of the best 5 clubs group, and we are not given the name of premium club for nothing. Dear friends, leadership, high performance leadership is not necessarily a talent, but rather is a skill can be developed by dedication, practice, and willingness to learn and improve. On this occasion, I would like to you all to join me in a toast. Unmute your audio, please, and turn on your videos. Raise your glass. And here is to high performance leadership. Cheers.
High performance leadership.
Performance leadership.
Cheers.
Performance leadership.
Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Youselee.
Thank you for the toast on the theme Toastmasters, Gilda, Shlah. High performance leadership means relentless training. As a leaders, we can give only what we have. High performance means repetitive training to get in a high level. Thank you for the toast. Now I will call some other role players at the meeting today. The first one I will call is our timer for today's meeting, Toastmaster Gada Almojarkish, to present her role.
Hello, fellow Taskmasters. My name is Ghada. I'm gonna be your timer for today. I shall time everyone according to the time on the agendas, and then shall post times to the chat box. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Madam Timer. Now I will call the grammarian for today's meeting, Toastmaster Karine Baptiste, to present her role as grammarian. Toastmaster Baptiste, the lead is yours.
Thank you very much, Youselee. I'm Karine, I'm from France. I will be your grammarian today. It's my responsibility to pay close attention to all role players, listening carefully to their language usage. I will take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, codes, or thoughts. As grammarian, it's also my duty to introduce the word of the day. Accomplishment. It's a noun, meaning an act or instance of carrying into effect or fulfillment. Example, graduating from university was a significant accomplishment in her life. Or another example, in Toastmasters, his accomplishment was achieving the DTM, Toastmaster, Distinguished Toastmaster. I will give you my report when the General Evaluator calls me. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Madam Grammarian. I encourage you all to try to use the word of the day during your presentation or in the chat when you are expressing your thought on the theme or on the speech presented by our speakers. Dear guests, once again, you are welcome at this meeting today, and the guest book is sharing on the chat. Please take some time to fill out this form so that we can reach out to you after the meeting and get to know you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our next segment is the Education Spotlight. And we are for something extraordinary. Today's speaker is not just the founder and president of Leadership Speak. He is the visionary who built it from the ground up into the top club of the Toastmasters in the Toastmasters world. A three-time distinguished Toastmaster. He is known globally for his razor-sharp thinking, unrelenting standards, and transformative leadership. When he speaks, minds open, standards rise, and leaders are born. We are all here witness of that at Leadership Speak. Today, he is here to challenge us to think and act as a high-performing team. His favorite topic, high-performance leadership, a call to excellence, impact, and legacy. Thank you, Madam Zoom Master, for already spotlighting our educational speaker for today, Toastmaster Brahm Memone. Before I give Toastmaster Memone the lead, I will call his evaluator to present the objective of today's speech. Toastmaster Leah Musunga.
Thank you so much for that, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. And I know definitely hearing that Brahm has 3 DTMs, that must definitely be a great accomplishment for one to achieve. So today, in terms of the evaluation, what I'll be looking out for as he is presenting from the project Prepared to Speak Professionally. So he'll be presenting a keynote style speech, exemplifying a professional level speaker's point of view or message in a style that supports the speech content. Thank you, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Musunga. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome our speaker for today's Toastmaster Brahm Memone. DTM Memone, the virtual lead lecture is yours.
Are you going to introduce me with my speech title, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, as we do, so that I can begin?
Sorry, too much excitement.
I know, right? Yes. Ray, you are going to be redeemed.
Leadership
Over
Speak
to you. Over to
High
you.
Performance Team. Toastmaster Brahm Memone, Leadership Speak High Performance Team.
Ladies and gentlemen, high performance teams. I am specifically speaking to the guests today. So welcome guests. Welcome to Leadership Speak, a high performing team. And also I'm particularly speaking to all the members of Leadership Speak who are present here. I'm speaking to the whole audience at the same time. So guests, you are the most important people in the room today. And since you are the most important people as guests, sit back and listen to what a high-performing team is in Toastmasters, which is Leadership Speak. And while you are doing that, Leah Musunga, our Vice President of Membership, is going to post a link in the chat. If you haven't already signed in as a guest, do so. Or you may want to wait and see what's Brahm going to speak about. I'm not going to sign in until I hear what the heck is he talking about. So, okay, let me tell you, if you are not going to sign in the guest book, let me tell you what I'm talking about today. Ladies and gentlemen, a high-performing team has three things clearly defined in Leadership Speak that I'm going to talk about today, which our Toastmaster of the day has gone into briefly. Of course, the first three, here are the three, sorry, clear roles, and there's one mission. And we have a club mission. And not the Toastmasters Club mission, which all clubs have, 15,000 clubs have, but we have a specific, unique selling proposition, which is our mission as an advanced club. We train relentlessly every Tuesday and Thursday before we come here on a Saturday, and trust and accountability is so much important in a high-performing team. And I will tell you why all these three things are very important in Leadership Speak. And if you want to improve your club, take notes. This might help you in taking your club to the next level. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just set my technology right and let's see if it is working. And it is working. Great. So, the first thing, ladies and gentlemen, that I want to talk about is clear goals. Clear roles, one mission. And what do we mean by that? And what do I mean by that is simply this, ladies and gentlemen. I'll switch my image off for a second. It is all about when we come together as a team, we can have clear roles and one mission. It's only when it's a team that we have a mission. We are on a mission. And so we need to connect with each other. We need to collaborate and we need to be a team. So I'm just switched off my image so that you can see what's going on here. Now, while you are looking at this image, let me just set up my technology even better so that you can see it clearly. If it, of course. All right, so every team member has a piece they come with. It's their strengths or their willingness to play on the team, their vision, why they want to be in an advanced club. As a guest, you have a piece here that you brought, and it's a piece of a jigsaw puzzle. And somebody else has another piece of the jigsaw puzzle, right? And so they bring their piece of jigsaw puzzle. Now, if this jigsaw puzzle doesn't fit, the picture will never be complete. It will not be a high-performing picture. If you try and put the pieces together, somehow, even if you manage to put them together, it will not form a good picture. So you need to make sure that the pieces fixed together well and there's a defined picture that emerges, that is clear, crystal clear. Clear roles, one mission. So whatever you bring to the table as a guest, as a member today, right now in this meeting, what have you brought with you? And we each bring something to this meeting today. You might want to bring listening skills, observation skills, writing skills. What am I getting from this and what can I give here? Maybe an applause, or what can I take away and take it to my club? Or if you're a member, how can I play better if I'm not playing already at that level? So our team mission, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a question for Leadership Speak and for the guests to watch what our team mission is that was defined when we founded the club 3 years ago. Anyone know what these words are? What's that word here? Shout out, members.
Premier Club.
Premier Club for?
Self-directed leader.
Experienced Toastmasters to become better?
Self-directed leaders.
Woohoo, right. That is our team mission. Ladies and gentlemen, we win because we know our team mission. We are here because of we want this club to be a premier club. We said that right at the start, that the day we formed the club, we said this is a premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. And so as a founder, me and my co-founder, we were on the hook to make sure that it was a premier club. So what we had to provide was amount of service and leadership to make sure that everyone who joined, they didn't know what Leadership Speak was about except what we told them. And so that excitement of being a premier and becoming self-directed gelled together. And that's why we are here today. And we have currently, with the attrition that's happened, about 54, 55 members at Leadership Speak from 30 different countries because of the team mission. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this team, right, has a context. And we need to understand what every Toastmasters club globally, wherever you are, doesn't matter if it's Leadership Speak or a community club or a university club, doesn't matter what club you are or a corporate club. There's some key things that bring a club together and not be a club, but really something different. And I say, what is a Toastmasters club? And you know that word is club. And the club is really a legal definition of how we collect fees and how we remit fees, and we don't have to do a tax return. And that is a legal definition of a club, how we come together. However, are we really clubbing here? Well, at Leadership Speak, we are not clubbing. We are not socializing. Though, of course, social aspect is always part of any organization. If there's no social networking and social connection, the organization doesn't exist. Of course, it's there. But the main thing about it is that we are a study group. We are studying something very special. As opposed to a social group, we are a study group with a formalized agenda. That's the context, and that's our team. Our team comes together to study what? What does your club meet every week or every other week or once a month? What does it study? Well, let's use the chat and see what are we studying here together. Anyone in the chat? All right, get your keyboards out. While you're getting keyboards out, let's see whether you guessed right. What are we studying here? Execution, self-directed leadership. No, what are we studying here is what's being studied in every club, 15,000 clubs globally. What are we studying? Well,
Stars and leaders.
We are studying, thank you. It's leadership is part of that, but what we are studying is simply this. CNL, communication and leadership. Every club reads the club mission, which has been told, which Toastmasters International has given to us. That's why we exist. And that club mission is to create a space for communication, leadership, and to become more self-confident, right, in a safe space. Communication leadership is the only thing that we are studying here, nothing else. And the format in which we are studying, of course, is, whether we are going to be self-directed leaders or what sort of leaders or better evaluators, better listeners, and all those things come in because that's all part of communication and leadership. So that's what we are studying here, ladies and gentlemen. And how are we studying this? That's the next question. And I've got some great answers. 300 plus competencies. Wow. Vinod, Panicker. All right. Vinod, I want you to list all the 300 competencies. Joking. So those who've said public speaking, leadership, communication, and leadership, and all that stuff, thank you very much. And those who are trying to guess, yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a tricky question, of course, right? But now you understand where I was coming from. Now, how are we studying this? Well, now that you've all said self-directed leaders, that is it. SDL is self-directed leaders. We are all self-directed. Even if you don't consider yourself a leader, as soon as you become self-directed, you put yourself in a leadership position because now you're in a high-performing team. So, specifically in leadership speak, we call ourselves self-directed leaders, because this program is all up to you. Nobody's going to tell you when to do a speech, unless you haven't done a speech and your VP of education comes and pushes, come on, do a speech, we need the DCP points, right? Which is unfortunate, that shouldn't really happen. But if that's happening, then you need to look at your performance and are you in a high-performing team? So, when you come to a study group to study communication and leadership and you are self-directed, you must come prepared to a study group. If you don't come prepared, and I don't mean being perfect, I mean prepared. Prepared is different than being perfect. Prepared means knowing your role and the position you're going to play in. If you are playing ice hockey like our toast, the person who raised the toast, Gilda said, Wayne Gretzky knew exactly where he was going to be and he knew where the puck would be before he reached the puck, right? On ice hockey, if you know how to play ice hockey, that's what it is. And every player on the ice rink was prepared to be where they needed to be. Come prepared. They just didn't turn up on the ice rink and played at the World Cup level. They didn't. They had to be prepared. They practiced, they planned, they strategized, and they practiced, and then they played with smaller teams, and then the bigger teams, and the bigger teams, and then world class, premier, right? Didn't happen overnight. So you have to come prepared to the study group is the key word for a team. If it is a team, preparation has to be in place. And then when you come on the field and you start playing, sure, you will learn, hey, the coach will say, stop running that way, run this way. Hey, center forward, be in your position and make sure that you're doing the right thing. Did you train well? Did you go to the gym and build your muscles up? I can see you can't stand still straight there, right? And so on. And so they all want to win. And so they have a coach to make sure that they push them to the max. Come prepared to the study group. If you don't know what you're doing, if you're in a community club, get a mentor. If you're a mentor, make sure you are approaching your mentee or your protege. Make sure that they are prepared before they come to the group to study communication and leadership. If you're telling your friends, where do I go every week, every month, and I disappear for 2-3 hours, don't tell them I go to Toastmasters Club, I go to a club. It means nothing to them. But if you say, I am going to a study group to study communication and leadership, suddenly they have a different framing of, oh my goodness, you're studying communication and leadership? What does that mean? So come along, come as a guest. All guests are welcome and come and watch. So all you guests here, and now today we have 47 people. I'm just looking at up here without my glasses. 47 people on the screen, most of whom I would say about 20 people are guests here today. Isn't that amazing? And so you are here to watch what's unfolding before you. And so if you're a guest, please sign the guest book. I will provide the value. Team. So what does the team mean, ladies and gentlemen? So here's this big moment. Messi! Do you know this person? Of course, we all know Messi, the greatest player of all time. Argentina, 2 years ago, won the soccer or football, if you are living in outside of North America, or if you're in North America, soccer, world champion. Argentina, that's the team, his team and his teammates. How did they win? How did the win is so big? How did Messi become one of the top players, greatest players of all time? Let's have a look, ladies and gentlemen. I will again be away from the screen. Just watch what we have here. Training relentlessly, that's what it is.
Moment of history. Messi. Oh, absolutely astounding. And with that goal, Lionel Messi becomes Argentina's all-time leading scorer. Messi! Sheer class! It never fades away.
Messi encara València li fan un 3 contra 1, ja se n'ha fet a un, ja s'ha fet el segon, ja s'ha fet el tercer, entra a l'àrea Messi, se'n fa un altre, gol! Gol!
think Messi is one of a kind. What he's doing, I don't know if we will see another player do the things that he does.
Brilliant. Look at that.
There you go, Messi. Thank God. Thank you, God. Did you see that excitement? Did you see how he played? The greatest of all time. He's a GOAT. Let me tell you this, guests and members. You can be a GOAT. You can be legendary. You can be outstanding. You can be excellent at what you do in your speaking, communicating, and leadership. You can. But are you on that high-performing team? Are you performing at that level? Thank you. Thank you. And now you can mute yourself as well. So let us look at that, ladies and gentlemen, is what does it take to play at that level of Messi, one of the greatest players of all time. And I understand that when he was hired by Apple Computers, in one of their series that were playing in North America, they paid him he made over $100 million or something. He's made a fortune. But that's not the thing about fortune or money. It's about how you're positioning yourself, how you're promoting yourself, and what's happening in your life when you become a great communicator and stand out. And when you speak, people say, there's something different about this person. And you can say, I come from a high-performing team. They raised me, and I raised them to the next level. And that's what a high-performing team is. So here are the best practices for a peak-performing team, which has been adapted from the Harvard Business Review. And what are these 6 things that I have for us to learn from? Well, here they are. Number 1, even if you are not in the communication program, you have to communicate and connect frequently with your team members. You got to understand and know your team members well, so you know who this person is, how they tick, what makes them work the way they work. You have to understand them so that you can play with them at the next level by using your strengths. Remember those 2 pieces of puzzle coming together? Harvard Business Review. Second, the meetings are strategic. People just don't turn up for a meeting. Every person that's in the meeting today practiced way before they came here. It doesn't mean they are perfect. It doesn't mean they will not make learning experiences today. Not failures or errors, learning experiences. They are only failures if they didn't practice and they just turn up not knowing what they were doing. Then that's a failure. But if you've been practiced and you knew the expectation, you came here, and then, of course, things didn't go accordingly, you were in a different state. Excellence is the norm for a high-performing team. That's the baseline. And at Leadership Speak, we all know, each and every member knows, excellence is the baseline. Nothing else will be good enough. Excellence, we start at excellence and then go higher. And then I'll explain that as well in a second. Bonding over non-work topics. For those of you who are in Leadership Speak, you know that whenever somebody new joins, whenever somebody has an accomplishment, I say, please connect with them directly rather than just writing a congratulatory note in the main members group on WhatsApp. Connect with them directly, because now you have the opportunity to get to know this person. Hey, Holmes, where are you from? Singapore. Oh, I'm from Guyana. Wow, we are like 15 hours apart. Amazing. Holmes, what do you do in Singapore? I'm in Guyana. I play rugby. If that was Fabian, of course. Fabian here in our team, in our group, is a semi-professional rugby player. He's from Guyana and is part of Leadership Speak. And so when you bond over non-work topics, it's so important to get to know each other so that you can play even better those pieces of puzzle coming together. And of course, give and receive appreciation, not fluff, like, oh, you did great, you did amazing. No, give appropriate and appreciation, receive the necessary appreciation. If you're on the field in the Argentina team and you make errors Your coach will not say, hey, oh, great, oh, it's okay, good, no, fine, oh, wonderful. No, you'll be told, this is the position, this is how you play, this is how you practice, this is how you pass the ball, right? And it's not personal, it's all about getting to the next level. And then when they do that and they perform well, the coach says, great work, now what's the next level? He said that, great work, amazing, what's the next level? That is giving and receiving appreciation at the appropriate way without fluff. And if you are in any group that wants to be high performing, there has to be evaluation or a feedback loop in a football team, in a ice hockey team, in Toastmasters. The feedback loop is present all the time. And I'm going to get a feedback after this presentation. And critical thinking is involved. Again, so there's no fluff, but there's great encouragement and what we did well, where we excelled, and so on, right? And that is the best practices of a peak performing team. You may want to take a screenshot. You can look at the video later on. This will be all there in the video. This is being recorded. And the last but not least is trust and accountability. Creating trust and being accountable is so key to being a high-performing team, to being self-directed, to being self-disciplined. Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. So what are your standard operating procedures? It's very, very important to have standard operating procedures individually. And so collectively, they become a collective standard operating procedure. A team is as good as its weakest link. And we all know that. It's been said that millions of times before. So what's your standard operating procedure? Are you indifferent in your Toastmasters club? Are you mediocre? Are you good? This good isn't good enough. If you're just the average person, are you excellent? Are you outstanding? Are you following the mastery level? Or are you the greatest of all time? At the messy level. So where does high performance leadership begin, ladies and gentlemen, is the question. It begins at the excellent level. That's where high performing team begins. That's the expectation. So it doesn't matter where you start, but you have to quickly jump to this by planning, strategizing, and practicing immediately you get there before you come on board in the real meeting, in the real playoff, right? At the World Cup champion level. And for Argentina, over here, somewhere here, right? And then with Messi, we'll practices, GOAT. So our team mission is, once more, Premier Club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. And when you become self-directed leaders and you exemplify it, you create great trust and accountability amongst the members. You are on a winning team. If you are a guest here, what is your team mission? Are you following the club mission at least? And are you exemplifying and walking the talk? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a high-performing team with the three things: clear roles, one mission, training relentlessly, and we do that very well. And we create trust and accountability because we know our standard operating procedure. If I'm excellent and the rest of the team is excellent, this team is legendary. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Brahm Memone.
Merci!
As I announced during the introduction, I told you that we were going to have a high-level presentation, and I was right. Thank you, Toastmaster Brahm Memone, and ladies and gentlemen, as this presentation was especially for our guests, I am happy that I see one guest commented during the meeting, but I would like to hear more from our guests to put their thoughts about this presentation on the chat. This presentation was for you, for the members as well, but it was for you, dear guests who are joining us. Fill out the form, please, and add your comment and your thought about the presentation and about the theme of the meeting, high performance leadership. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to the next part of the meeting, the prepared speeches. Today, the first speaker that I would like to call today is Toastmaster Atul Sankar. Toastmaster Atul Sankar think that positive, thank you, Madam Zoom Master. Toastmaster Atul Sankar think that high performance leadership is the impact of one small positive emotion. Before I give him the virtual lectern, I will call his evaluator to present the objective of the speech, Toastmaster Vinod Panicker.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Toastmaster Atul Sankar is presenting his speech from the Path Leadership Development. His project, this level 3 and project 3 elective project. The purpose of the project is for the member to practice being aware of his or her thoughts and feelings, as well as the impact of his, her or her response on others. And the purpose of speech is for the member to share his or her experience completing the project. There are two options in this project. Either the speaker can do a 2 to 3 minute speech or a 5 to 7 minute speech. Timer, please note the speaker has chosen to speak for 5 to 7 minutes. All the very best, and back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Panicker. Toastmaster, the title of Toastmaster Sankar's speech is The Edge of Negative. Toastmaster Atul Sankar, The Edge of Negative. The virtual lead is yours.
Have you ever felt stuck? Not physically, but emotionally. Like something is building up over your chest. You feel heavy, stress, anger, and disappointment, but you don't know how to let it out. Even me, like you, I was emotionally blocked. What I now call as emotional constipation. Like physical constipation, we run to the washroom always. A similar way, when you're emotionally constipated, you never know you are always angry. You're always stressed. You get buzzed over small things. It's just like a tight chest always, not able to breathe. But it was even for me. I was always emotionally constipated. I was always being angry for small things. I was always getting reckless for small things and losing my temper and having a huge short temper. I was not responding, I was reacting. That's when I realized my emotions are driving me. I'm not driving my emotions. And some gentleman there commented and suggested me to journal down so that you could calm down. I was laughing. What this gentleman knows about me, my pain is my pain. What does he know? But then it is true. I just thought, let me give it a try. It doesn't cost me a penny too. I started journaling myself and started noting down every day, and no filters, no stories, only emotions, which is unfiltered. Maybe whatever language I knew, I used to write it, and whatever battler English I knew, I used to write down. Because I used to put my heart out, but not in a perfect English sentence. It was my emotions. I wrote the day one, I started journaling. Then I laughed. Is it me? Is it me? Is it me? Always, for small things, I see I'm reacting. I'm just cursing myself. And that day and every day goes into trouble. because one small bad emotion, the whole day is buzzed down, the whole day is the emotion is being run through, which I'm not really able to concentrate on the real things and priorities in life because the emotions were driving me. Then I write down day 1, day 2, day 3. Then I got to know. Then I introspected myself, seeing this journaling gave me a choice. Today I still feel anger, I still feel anxiety, but I know what to do with it. Because I always introspected myself where I was getting triggered. Where was my trigger points? That trigger points, I was analyzing it deep. This trigger, always I used to think, okay, let me say, okay, it's good, it's well done. And then writing it for a couple of days, maybe like 20 days, 30 days. And slowly I realized that I was not as angry as before. My emotions were not driving me before. My emotions were not driving me like before. And I was able to control my emotions, my senses. And I understood that is where the end of negative came. But not end of emotions, but end being ruled by them. So if you're feeling stuck, try writing, not to be poetic, not to be wise, but to be real. By the end of the day 20, I started knowing and I understood myself more clearly. It changed not my emotions, but myself. And I stopped reacting, but responding. I started to be positive, and it came to all the end of the negative. And this feeling is so beautiful. Nowadays, if someone scolds me, if someone triggers my emotions, I'm having an highest emotional control. I'm really thankful to the journaling that really helped me out. Because this journaling, it's just like you're introspecting your life, your day, and your time, and your emotions. And what I understood at life, it's us, and it's not emotions, it's not life, and life is not emotions. The pen can't erase the pain, but it can help you write the story. Because sometimes the path to peace isn't loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's you, your thoughts, and an honest page. Let your journal become the steering wheel and begin with your own journey towards the end of negative. Thank you. Has to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Atul Sankar, for encouraging us to journaling in order to take over our emotions and our senses, to stop reacting and start responding. Thank you for this presentation. Once again, dear guests, you can participate and comment on the presentation by putting your comment in the chat. And as well, do not forget to fill out the guest book. Thank you, Toastmaster Sankar. Now we are moving on to our next speaker today, Toastmaster Hannah Schmidt. Toastmaster Schmidt became a Toastmaster member 14 years ago, earning a distinguished Toastmasters certificate. In early 2020, she called herself a Zoom hooper, participating in multiple online Toastmasters clubs to discover the rich cultures and her fellow members. This experience enhanced her communication skills and fostered the development of her adaptive leadership abilities. Acknowledging the distinct culture of each club, Toastmaster Schmidt values the importance of servant leadership and is inspired to take on a leadership role. Before I give her the virtual lectern, I will call her evaluator to present the objective of the speech. Toastmaster Irene Sadia.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Hannah Schmidt will be delivering a speech from the Visionary Communication Path, Level 4, Project 1. The objectives of Hannah's speech is to present a speech about a plan that she has developed for communicating a change to an audience affected by that change. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sadia. The title of Toastmasters Hannah Schmidt is Transparency. Transparency. Distinguished Toastmaster Hannah Schmidt.
Communicating change frequently gives rise to uncertainty, discomfort, and a widespread fear of the unknown. Yet, communicating change with confidence and transparency helps our transition, empowering us to thrive and face the unknown confidently. Madam Toastmaster. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly raise your hands if you have ever experienced the forget everything and run, that fear response when faced with a major change, only to later find the confidence and the transparency to share it with your family and friends. For me, the word fear has a distinct significance. I have become focused, excited, ambitious, and resilient to apply transparency when communicating change. A little back into history. My family and I resided in a spacious, comfortable home. And as the years passed, my children grew up into young adults. They moved away from home, which led me to experience this sense of emptiness syndrome. Yet I saw no reason for a major change. I stayed fully engaged in my work, dedicating time to energy to my professional duties. Furthermore, I cultivated a vibrant and fulfilling social life, staying in touch with friends and family, attending events and engaging in activities that had always brought me happiness. Fast forward. The years passed and retirement drew near. My social and my professional activities gradually slowed down. The house began to feel excessively large. I recognized the need for change and ultimately acknowledged it, because change is an inevitable part of our lives. I discussed the possible change with my daughter Beatrix. Together we developed a plan, leading to a defined strategy and vision. Initially, I thought the concept of change was straightforward, but I became a bit hesitant. Eventually, I embraced it. However, implementing that change proved to be slightly more challenging than I had anticipated. Yet I focused, anticipating that this change will have a positive outcome. In a letter, without any delay, I promptly notified my landlord about the importance of this change, outlining the reasons and highlighting the necessity of this adjustment. During a Zoom call, I shared the news with my children, acknowledging that while this transition could be a bit challenging, it also opens doors to incredible opportunities, growth, and adventure. I became excited for this new chapter, and in response, my children fully support me. They will stand behind me with every step on the way, offering their encouragement as I embrace this fresh start. Although I will leave behind familiar things, I am confident that this move will open the doors to new growth, adventure, and memorable opportunities that we can eagerly share when my family comes to visit. Through transparency and open communication about this change, I can share that I have found a welcoming and comforting home in a beautiful residential area. This transition brought an immediate sense of relief, easing my worries and bringing me peace. I maintain a clear line of communication with the furniture removals, or they call it relocation experts, and seamlessly transitioned to the new chapter of my life. My ambition, my resilience, they have shown results. Ladies and gentlemen, communication change with transparency is the only way out. It fosters confidence, eliminates confusion. The transition process becomes more efficient and less disruptive. Added to this, it boosts engagement and morale. It promotes accountability, trust, strengthens relationship, and with all stakeholders. Failing to communicate change with transparency is a critical misstep. It breeds distrust, fuels uncertainty, weakens the very foundation needed for progress. True growth is the only possible way when communicating change, as it is approached with integrity. I have focused, became excited, became ambitious, resilient in my commitment to applying transparency when communicating change. Remember my fear at the beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, embrace communicating change with transparency. Step forward with confidence. Stay focused. Be excited. Be ambitious. By communicating change with transparency, we uphold integrity. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hannah Schmidt, for this presentation on the importance of communicating change with transparency. You brought to us today some positive impact of having a good communication. Will have integrity, resilience, ambition, and that as well decrease our stress. Thank you for this presentation. Thank you to all the guests that who are participating in the meeting. While I am reading the chat, I see more and more guests are posting their comment, and members as well are posting their comment. Thank you for that. Now I will call our third speaker for today, Toastmaster Antonia Hernandez. Today, Toastmaster Antonia Hernandez will present her icebreaker. Today is the great opportunity to get to know her better. Before I give her the lectern, I will call her evaluator to present the objective of the speech, Toastmaster Zara Moa. Zara.
honor to evaluate, let's say, Antonia. Today, she's, as you mentioned, is going to, through her persuasive influence pathway. And this is icebreaker. Wish her all the best. And as we know, she's going to, the purpose of this project is the member to introduce herself, the club more. Thank you very much. All the best. 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Toastmaster Antonia, the virtual lectern is yours. The title of the speech is The Recipe for Success. The Recipe for Success, Toastmaster Antonia Hernandez.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. These words echoed in my head like a scratch record as I wander through the woods without a destination. I'd just been fired, and instinctively I walked somewhere far away. Suddenly I spotted a cave, and inside an old man with long white hair sat stirring a pot of soup. Without looking up, as if he had been expecting me, he demanded, "Tell me one wish." Without hesitation, I asked, "I want to have success." He nodded and said, "For success, you need 3 things: practice, presence, and a winning mindset." Reflecting on my own mindset, I asked, "Why, if you don't have a winning mindset, will I be successful anyway?" He looked me from bottom to top with a teasing smile. "Well, in that case, you will be here with me in a cave with all your wisdom." Dear Toastmasters and guests, today I'd like to share with you that recipe for success. And let's start with the first ingredient. Practice. Why humans, we strive for success instead of just existing? We could sit all day long on a sofa without doing anything, just waiting to die. And why don't we do that? Because somehow humans, we are wired for curiosity, and we are wired for improvement, no matter if it's in arts, in science, or in relationships. And the foundation of improvement is practice. It requires effort, self-discipline, and resilience. It's just like the marathon runner that trains every day. Practice develops further our resilient muscle and, most importantly, our skills. There are many tools that can guide our practice. My preferred one is the Pomodoro technique that you may know. I have made my own adaptations. What I do is identify what are my objectives, I understand what is the scope, and then I distribute in short or long term, depending on the scope. And then let's imagine that I have 3 tasks in one day. Then I distribute in chunks of 20 minutes and then 1 break between each of them. And in that way, I can achieve many things. For example, avoid the procrastination that we may know. And with this, we can move to the second ingredient. The second ingredient is present. Caesar said, "Veni, vidi, vinci," which means I came, I saw, I conquered. This came means showing up. This is presence. It's about first you have to show up. Vedi is observe. It's important that when you show up, you observe, you read the room in one way, but it's about understanding what are the explicit social rules and the implicit social rules. And at the end, Vinci means having this winning mindset that we will be seeing in our third ingredient. And at the end of the day is that it requires empathy, active listening, and the know-how of selling ourselves well. There are many guides that can help us to improve our presence. My preferred ones are the clock and the social protocols that I already mentioned. Why the clock is important? Because being punctual or not being punctual tells a lot from ourselves. Also, when we go to contest, you know that if we don't speak in the allotted time, it could mean to be disqualified and not win. And the social protocols, it refers about understanding what are the explicit and the implicit social rules. And finally, the third ingredient, and returning to our example, if Caesar hadn't possessed a winning mindset, a strong determination to succeed, probably he wouldn't have shown up. Probably he wouldn't have read the battle in order to create a strategy to win. At the end, what is going to allow us to win is to stay focused, confident, and perseverant. And it is going to allow us to bounce back from setbacks. Two important rules to develop our winning mindset are the visualization and the mentorship. Visualization is the idea that you understand what is the goal and all the steps necessary, and the mentorship is about helping others and being helped in what are more skilled. My lesson learned in all that is that if we don't develop our presence and have a winning mindset, we may lack visibility, because if our skills go unnoticed, then we cannot win. And another is if we don't have a winning mindset, we have the inability to overcome setbacks. In short, everything starts with a winning mindset. When Caesar said, Veni, Vidi, Vinci, he had already that winning mindset. Practice gives us the necessary skills, but presence and a winning mindset is what enables us to apply those skills, thrive in social settings, and persevere through challenges. All three are essential for well-rounded success. Back to you.
Thank you, Antonia. You have presented a speech well aligned with the theme of the meeting today. Success means practice, show up by being present and having a winning mindset. Thank you for this presentation. Now I will call our last speaker for today, Toastmaster Maryam Saedavi. Toastmaster Saedavi is from Iron Business Development Direct. Is an Iron Business Development Director. She's a member of Toastmasters International since 2014 and a member of Leadership Speak since last year. For her, high-performance leadership is about inspiring and empowering teams to achieve exceptional results through vision, accountability, and continuous growth. Before I give her the lead, I will call her evaluator, Toastmaster Rivero, to present the objective of the speech.
Thank you so very much, Madam Toastmaster. Today, Maryam is going to be presenting a speech called Understanding Your Leadership Style. This project does involve doing a survey to identify a leadership style that is predominant. And she is also going to share some aspect of that primary leadership style and share with us some other aspect that she's learned about herself regarding leadership. So today, let's all welcome Maryam to do her presentation on her leadership style. Thank you.
Thank you, Ref. The title of the speech is Leadership is Matter. Toastmaster Maryam Saedavi, Leadership is Matter. The lead is yours.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. Fellow Toastmaster and a welcome guest. Today, I want to share with you something that shares my personal and professional lives. Leadership. We all understanding leadership is the matter. But how often we take the time to pause and reflect what is all leadership style. Raise your hand if you take the pause and the take. Wow. I'm in the right room, but what means leadership to you? Just take few minutes. Over the years, I have been to find the self-awareness in leaderships is the key to the growth, and journey of the discovery has been in installment to understanding the leader, how I am today. When I first began in my career in Ministry of the Education in the Dubai, I was full with the energy. The mission is clear. Ensure that all the local students, especially only men Emiratis from the UAE, must finish high school. And with the vision to border and guide them to the 12th to university. At the first, the same straightforward. Direct to the team, sitting with the goals and rest follow-up. I soon find out the leadership is not just about accomplishment, tasks. It's all about connecting with the people and understanding them. My first leadership as the involved to the managing the small team, but with the critical project. I mix of the excitement and exciting. I want to make impact, but I don't know how. I believe that time the leadership is there taking control, setting the direction and making decision and let the team follow. And why make the progress? But after in the reality, I find myself as the leader with my small team with facing too many problems and the issue. During a team meeting, one of the colleagues, her name Sarah, she mentioned to me valuable lesson that they changed my approach. She mentioned instead of focusing in the task, let's focusing in the individuality of the student by they encourage them and they show them the benefit of the finishing the high school. I find this the leadership is all about the order, is all about creating an environment that the people feel value, inspired, and engaged to contribute. From that moment, I shift my approach. I start to be open communication, invited for the feedback, and involved to my team to make the decision making. And the result remarkable. As I continue to grow, I learn one other critical aspect in the leadership, emotion intelligence. Leadership is not about the strategy or the execution. It's all about understanding response to the need, to the support the people and encourage them and create a culture with the trust and the collaboration with the team. Through this the experience, I find this one will be the transformative. It's not just about the sitting and the talking about the deadline or the tax. We need to sit with the team and they talk about a challenge we are facing and celebrate each small wins and remind ourselves why we are together. Looking back, I see the leadership is the continued journey, one of the learning, adapting, and growing. There is no single way to follow, but we need to stay open and get the feedback and they use your experience and adapt the new challenge. So I leave you with this message. Take time to reflect our own your leadership style, embarrassing what makes you unique, but don't afraid to adapt when necessary. Leadership is not all about having the answer, it's all about the created environment where the others feel empowered to the contribute and growth. As we continue, is the measuring not by the knowing how much we achieving. We need to know how you can inspire and uplifting others. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Maryam Saedavi, for this presentation about leadership style. And you encourage us to use what makes us unique as leader and use our strength to create an environment where other people can grow, transform, and stay open to receive feedback on our weaknesses. Thank you for this presentation and for the lesson that you bring to the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our last speaker for today. Thank you to all the speakers. I will encourage you once again to keep posting your comment on the presentation or on the theme of the meeting on the chat. Now I will ask the timer to put the timer's report in the chat, and I ask the Zoom master to please launch the poll for the best effort speaker. It's not this one. while we are waiting for the poll, please, dear guests, you can fill out the form if you did not do that earlier. And please, dear members and guests, you can keep posting your comment on the theme or on the speakers today. The poll to vote for the best effort speaker will be posting later on. Now I will call the general evaluator for the meeting today to come and take the lead for the evaluation session. Toastmaster Terrence. Toastmaster Terrence, the lead is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters. We have come to the second segment of this meeting, which is the evaluations. First, I will call upon the evaluator who will give a brief description or a brief evaluation, and then I will give my comments. To start us off, I'll call the Toastmaster evaluating the toast, Toastmaster Sandra Valks, who was evaluating the toast delivered by Toastmaster Gilda Schlah. Toastmaster Sandra, the virtual stage is yours.
Thank you. Such a pleasure to be evaluating you, Gilda, in this high performance leadership. You have certainly accomplished presenting a toast that speaks to the theme today. I'm going to mention the introduction. It was really well done. And when introductions are well done, it sets up the tone and for how I'm going to listen. So I appreciated that. You came in red, which is a lovely power color. You're taking your space. You were standing, which is always a bit of a challenge, but the standing is also a great way to have energy. In that, you did get to doing dancing around a little bit. I call it dancing and swaying. So you're going to need to just plant your feet and move on purpose in between thoughts or ideas, and then do your little shift. That's really something. I loved the analogy of Gretzky, and the whole storyline was beautiful. Gretzky is Canadian, and since this is global, I would have hoped that you would come out with a picture of Gretzky holding his trophy in his hockey uniform and introduced him. That's where I would have started, and then go into the story, because it was a very powerful comparison of the determination and the practice that went in with it. And I do like the idea of your power visualization. You were teaching us along with how Gretzky was able to succeed so beautifully. Power visualizing with practice and persistence. So thanks for drawing all of this picture together for high performance leadership and closing your toast so graciously. GE.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sandra. What I found effective in your evaluation is that you've given what stood out for you and the areas of improvement. Just an addition, when giving the toast, which I also found effective, it's important when you invite the members to a toast, you remember to thank them. And I saw that in that toast, and that is effective. We move to the second evaluator, evaluating the Toastmaster of the Day. The Toastmaster of the Day was Toastmaster Youselee Joseph, and the evaluator is Toastmaster Tony Brashish. Toastmaster Tony, over to you.
Thank you very much, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, and especially you, Youselee. When you and I communicated about what you wanted me to watch out for in my evaluation of your Toastmaster of the role, you mentioned to me to use my my perceptions to just throw whatever ideas I had to help you grow as a leader. Now, as the Toastmaster of the day, you actually embody all the teamwork that everybody puts into this effort. And we have seen a very good effort today. But what's misleading on the good side is what we don't see, but is always there, is that the preparation for these meetings are sometimes incredible. And I have to give credit to Karine for organizing the agenda with the speakers early. And because of that, what was remarkable about your Toastmaster of the role today was you started this 14 days ago. You initiated the WhatsApp channel on March the 22nd to get the team going, to get people involved, so they understood their role with the clear vision, as you mentioned, as one of the 3 criteria at the very beginning of your presentation. And along the way, up until today, I had counted at least 13 entries you made into the WhatsApp channel to ensure that your team was prepared. Now, as a leader, you're measured quite often on effectiveness and efficiency and how you prepare your role. So you were very effective in getting this team working functionally extremely well. And one of your tasks was to invite the guests to make sure that they would, enter their names in the guest book. And throughout this presentation, 5 times equidistantly, you had mentioned that strategically to the guests to please enter your name. So you did the big things and the small things in your presentation as Toastmaster today very well. The second criteria, so after effectiveness, getting the job done, doing it right, which you did, the second thing is efficiency. You performed in a it was scripted, but it was natural. There was very little hesitation. There was hardly any mistakes. You did forget to mention Brahm's introduction speech, but you learned from your failure as one of your criteria, and you never lapsed on that again. One suggestion I have: at one point, I was measuring the timing on the agenda, and our program fell as far as 21 minutes behind at one time. But I think you knew that. And although a lot of things relative to your control, you somehow brought us up. We were only about 9 minutes behind. So you made an improvement of 12 minutes without even phasing your performance. Finally, in summary, if I was to be Toastmaster of the day, and I was watching your performance very carefully, like I did, the one call to action you gave me and all of our members who are watching and our guests who are here to learn about leadership was your call to action. 3 words: be the example. Be the example. And as a leader, we have to be the example. And Youselee, you were a great example of leadership. High performance leadership by Youselee Joseph as Toastmaster of the day. Thank you for what you have done. Back to you, GE.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tony. It was clear from your evaluation that you had connected with the Toastmaster of the day, from quoting what she asked you to look out for and the areas that you noted, including the core message, be the example. That was effective. I will segue to the next evaluator, evaluating the leadership speaker, that is distinguished Toastmaster Brahm Memone. Toastmaster Leah Musunga, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. General Evaluator. What are we studying? Communication and leadership. Toastmaster Brahm, I must say, when you started your presentation, I was so engrossed. I took my pen out and I started making notes. And that's just how effective your presentation was. Right from the beginning, you stated the 3 aspects you were going to be looking at in terms of what makes a high performance team. Clear roles, our mission, train relentlessly, trust, and accountability. So from the get-go, we knew exactly what to expect in the rest of your presentation. And as I said, it was very engaging. I just found myself making notes as we went along. I liked the fact that you engaged with the audience by asking questions, even having empty spaces within your presentation that allowed the audience to fill the blanks. That helped also in engaging in terms of the visual engagement, because besides the presentation slides that you had, you also had the video that we got to watch, another way of engaging the audience. I thought that was very well done. One of the things you had stated when we had met in terms of your presentation today is also how well you would have engaged with our guests. And as I checked a few minutes back, I realized at least so far we have had about 8 people who have actually completed our guest book, which is actually quite amazing. So in terms of fulfilling the objectives of your project, I can definitely say that it has been accomplished. And I'm sure all the people who were here in the meeting have definitely gotten something that they can take away and apply. So in terms of what I picked up, maybe that can be worked on is maybe at the beginning of the presentation, you could have alerted the audience that you would be asking them questions just so that they are ready to respond, and they will quickly then engage with you. And that's one that I noted. And then I think the other thing I noted, and maybe it's because it's a Toastmasters thing, in terms of time, your time was 22 minutes. You went over 23 minutes. But we're always saying Toastmasters, we should try our best to speak within times. But other than that, this was just me trying to see some points in terms of what to work on. I definitely can attest, and I'm sure everyone would agree, that your presentation was definitely well researched, well engaging, lots of visuals that we got to look and see and hear. And yeah, this and then I guess, like I said, the only thing is just maybe at the beginning to alert the audience that there would be questions along the way. Other than that, thank you so much for your speech. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Leah. I can see, okay. Well, that was effective. I wanted to comment on how you went straight to the evaluation, which we encourage in critical thinking for evaluators. You went straight to the point and you dove right in. One area I also noted for Toastmaster Brahm, an area of improvement, is, ladies and gentlemen, I have observed that that phrase is used more commonly than others, and I believe there could be a more effective way to get the attention of the speakers or the audience other than the ladies and gentlemen, which has become synonymous with that statement or that speaker. Otherwise, that was an effective speech. I enjoyed the Zoom presence and the use of the props and all those various aspects that have been mentioned by Leah. And we segue to the next evaluation. Inviting the evaluation for the first speaker. The first speaker was Toastmaster Atul Sankar. and his evaluator is Toastmaster Vinod Panicker. Toastmaster Vinod, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Pen can't erase your pain, but it can write your story. And Toastmaster Atul, your story had nice takeaway. In emotionally tense situation, respond instead of reacting. What I absolutely liked and what I felt effective in your speech was your level of energy. I felt I was watching law of thermodynamics in action. Energy transfers from hot to cold. You were like oozing with energy from the beginning till the end. And that is a skill, a competency on Zoom. Because usually, if a speaker speaks very slow and is not showing energy, the audience also follow that, right? The law of psychology, if somebody yawns, you also feel like yawning. So you showed us that energy and we were there with you. Second is your humor. I have never heard this term emotional constipation. I would definitely would like to know which washroom can we go when we are constipated emotionally. And I would have loved if you could have elaborated more about that. I wanted to know about it. The third thing, like what I liked is your project title, or the title of the project was Focus on Positive, and your speech title was The Edge of Negative. So there was a contrast, and it's a good way that I knew there would be a setback, setup, and step up in your story, and I was looking forward for that. So these were all the things that I absolutely liked and felt effective. Now, the point of improvements. Being an online meeting, Zoom presence. What I felt was the lens was a little bit higher. We always say that the lens should be on the shoulder level or at the eye level, so that when you're speaking, audience feels that you're speaking to them. I felt that you had kept the laptop a little bit above, or the mobile, whatever you were using, and you were looking up. The second was your hands were half cut. Like, for example, if I go like this and speak to you, right? So throughout the speech, you had an amazing background and a white dress. I would have loved to see up till waist high. That's what Toastmasters also recommend. Now, the project very clearly demanded something: to record your negative thoughts. And during the process of journaling, how did you reframe it? You told us on the 20th day, you started to respond instead of reacting. What I personally felt and observed is, and I would like to recommend as a leader or a good public speaker, vulnerability is one of the skills that we need to develop. And I feel somehow you are hesitant to share your personal story. I would like to see that personal stories, because there were no characters in this in this particular speech. Characters and dialogues would have built a visual, like what is an imagery, and we could have been with you. This story demanded that particular thing. So overall, to summarize, you took us on a journey from reacting to responding with humor, energy, and a contradicting title. If you work on your adding a personal story, you can help a lot of people get rid of their emotional constipation. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vinod Panicker. I found your evaluation effective in the sense that you have connected with the speaker and you're able to show him, following along the way, showing him the various aspects of his speech that I also observed were effective. And then, of course, the areas of improvement. And finally, very importantly, being able to summarize all those thoughts. I believe Toastmaster Atul will leave this space being able to implement those guidelines or that feedback. Just something else for Toastmaster Atul. I noticed a lot of movement within the screen. Standing is good, which you did. You can also work on reducing the movement so that we are not very distracted from your message. Let the movement not steal the attention from your message. Besides that, that was effective. We move to the next evaluator, who will be evaluating the second speaker. Toastmaster Hannah Schmidt was the second speaker, and her evaluator is Toastmaster Irene Sadia. Toastmaster Irene, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator, and especially Hannah. Your speech, communicate change with transparency. So that automatically let us know where you were going, that there was a change to be communicated and you were communicating it with transparency. So what you excelled at was you were able to explain and show us that you prepared a plan to communicate a change to the various groups or the stakeholders that that change was going to affect. How did you do that? You got into a Zoom call with your children. You spoke with the agent of where you were living. So that was well done, long in advance before the move was necessitated. What else did you excel at, Hannah? That if this was a well-organized speech, I could see the move from one point to the other very, very clearly. And thirdly, you used a personal story. Stories are endearing. We could relate. We probably moved from one place to another, and we could see the trajectory of where your story was going. And then you shared with us the emotions that came with that, the confidence. It eliminates confusion. It boosts morale. So there was a very clear call to action for us, the audience, that when we have a change to make, that we should communicate that change with transparency. So you did that really, really well. What could you have done better to even improve your speech? At one point, you mentioned that there was a difficulty to embrace execution of the change. And at that point, you were smiling. And I'm like, that was a disconnect for me. If you're telling us about something that was difficult to be a bit, it doesn't sit well that you are smiling, and yet this was a difficult thing. However, overall, you met the objectives of your speech. You used a story that we can all relate to. You communicated with the stakeholders in good time, well in advance. And if you just watch your facial expressions in terms of what and the words that you're saying at the point in time, then this speech will be better elevated. Thank you very much. And back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Irene. There are two things we look out for when we are doing the evaluation, and I'm glad you have done the evaluation effectively. First and foremost, what is the key message throughout the speech, and what is the key takeaway? For me, for Hannah's speech, it was about embracing, communicating change with transparency. Thank you for helping us envision or visualize that. And next, we move to the next evaluator, evaluating the third speaker. The third speaker was Toastmaster Antonia Hernandez, and her evaluator was Toastmaster Zahra Mohared. Toastmaster Zahra, over to you.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. Antonia, I was inspired by your speech. My takeaway was winning mindset is a must, plus practice to enhance skills and also presents to use those skills to thrive in social contexts. Well done on that. You will excel at, first, foremost, your vocal variety. You started with a very attention-grabbing, wow. Or let's say attention-grabbing, that was the opening. You are fired, you are fired. Your facial expression was awesome. And then you went to the body. That was the structure. It was well organized. 3 points that you go into details and talk about every point, winning mindset, practice, and presence, and brought some tools to the audience to practice more and be more effective. Meanwhile, you use the vocal variety of that magician, and that add more spice to your speech. Great job. If I want to just recommend and help you to your speech go to a higher level, I may ask you to work on the purpose of this speech was introducing yourself. That's great that you did not go to traditional way and I'm blah blah and we're talking about all those things. You banged the nail on the head. However, you mentioned 3 points. What if you share your personal stories with us and tell us, how do you use them? How do you practice them? Your success, your failure, your learned messages, and what do you accomplish? That will stick in the mind of the audience more. The second point that I would like you to work on it is your Zoom presence. Regardless of wonderful and amazing virtual backgrounds and very catchy and attention-grabbing, they were cut off. In some ways, that your hand will be vanished, and we couldn't have the perfect hand gesture of you when you went to the sides. So perhaps the best thing is using a green sheet at your back whenever you want to use virtual background and using it as the present slides. I will challenge you to stand and present, because I have just seen this part and very little from your end. So it wasn't that strong. With that message, with that presentation, I expected you use your hand greatly, just like in this box, and you just share your messages to the audience. All in all, I thank you for giving me this opportunity. You were great at structure, content, vocal variety, and you may work on your Zoom presence and your hand gesture, standing position, posture. Thank you very much. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Zahra. It's as if you read my mind, because you picked on the various points I had noted on that speech, and that was effective in the sense that Toastmaster Antonia will be able to proceed to the next level. Besides that, what was the purpose of her speech? Was it to motivate, persuade, negotiate, entertain, or what was it exactly? That is something I would want to challenge her to also bring out. Was it an entertaining speech? Was it persuading us? Was it just to have that clear goal in mind? And with that, Toastmasters and guests, we move to the final evaluation. Evaluating Toastmaster Maryam Saedavi is Toastmaster Ray Rivero. Toastmaster Ray, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator, and especially Maryam. I have something to share with you. What an invitation to bring in the audience to hear your story and to have the audience focus on it. Good opening. And it gives us a reason to pause and reflect. With the 3 key points of any speech we give at Toastmasters, inside and outside the organization. Excuse me. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you just told them. You use this advice quite succinctly. I loved your speech development, step-by-step leadership with these building blocks of education and beyond, connecting with others and using gestures to make it impact, like with the fist. How? That keeps the audience engaged with your story. And the advice of seeking feedback. What we always have admired in our leaders, sometimes it's not just the way that they lead, but also with the humbleness that they accept their position and learn and feed upon that. That's such a key element that you presented, and thank you for that. Now, a few things we can work on together. First of all, you didn't think that we were going to let you work on this alone, did you? No way, this is leadership speak. We aim to improve our communication and leadership styles here. First of all, some of the technical stuff. You can try to elevate your laptop to eye level, or as Vinod said, maybe just about the chest level, because that eye in that laptop is a member of our audience. Second is that there is no need to rush through, even though you have a lot of information, a lot of good information. The key thing is that it's the quality of information to present and not necessarily the quantity, even though you had a lot of good points. No need to rush through them. Ideally, look at the pace. And finally, I didn't catch the specific leadership style, but then again, you presented a few others. For example, an affiliative style, which is performance in a positive relationship with others, active listening for altruistic, collaborative for the innovative style, and a coaching to build skills within your team. Awesome. And that's what I wanted to see if you can challenge yourself to do not only this, but to do more, to step out of that comfort zone. No need to say that you're limited to these 8 particular styles limited in the project, but maybe there's a few others that you can share as well. Finally, review your recording. Take a look at the video. I know there'll be a temptation to say, oh my God, no. Overcome that and see what you can do to improve on that speech, improve on the pacing, and maybe get a pause in to get the effect from your audience. And take a look at your 360 team evaluation template from Basecamp, because that is actually the equivalent of a evaluation form for leadership. Then see how people perceive you. Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ray. I found that quite effective in the sense that you reminded us about the approach of tell the audience what you're going to tell them, tell that, give us the content, and finally remind us what you've told us. That is a good reminder, and I thank you for applying critical thinking in your evaluation, in the sense that you're not ending it here. You want her to improve, and you demonstrated that. Besides that, it was a great evaluation. I will give my report at the end of this segment. So with that, I invite the timer. Please post the timings for the evaluations in the chat. And as she does that, I invite the grammarian to give us the grammarian report.
Thank you very much, Terrence. The word of the day have been used several times. Youselee 1 time, Leah 2 times, Zara 1 time, and Sandra 1 time. If I forget someone, please oblige me. Regarding the quotes, thoughts, I would like to share some beautiful sentences. Gilda, Merge a vision with performance and dedication. Youselee, having relentless training. Zara, leadership can achieve huge accomplishment through such a training and collaboration. Atul, I'm emotionally constipated. Anna, communication change with transparency. Transition brought immediate resilience. Antonia, everything starts with winning mindset. And Maryam, leadership is not all about extending responses, but support people and create collaboration. Thank you very much for these beautiful sentences. And over to you, Terrence.
Thank you for the grammarian report. At this point, I will call upon the Zoom master to launch the 2 polls, starting with the speakers poll and followed by the evaluators poll. We can do that in the next 2 minutes. Yes, I can see the poll for the best effort speaker. I encourage all of us to respond to it. I'll give us a minute as we do that. Okay, we can have the best effort evaluator polls as well. And in the interest of time, I will share my report. The theme for today is high performance leadership. As a Toastmaster, I hope having attended this meeting, you have seen the high performance leadership. I will share 3 aspects that you might have observed from these evaluations, which I also found effective. The first one being collaboration. If you observed from the first evaluator to the final one, there was a sense of collaboration between the speaker and the evaluator. Evaluation is not an action. It's a project. It's a relationship. There's need to connect, and that's why you saw the various aspects that were brought out. Things that you wouldn't ordinarily notice if you're just watching the speaker, but things that the speaker intimately shared with the evaluator. And in the process of helping each other improve, you must have noticed what happens. You have seen the kind of evaluations we have at Leadership Speak. Something else. An area where you might have noticed across the various evaluations, there is need for Zoom presence. This is an online club, and we encourage, for instance, you might have noticed all the speakers were standing up, which was effective to their presentation. They were able to articulate their points and they were able to deliver effectively. So in your club, wherever you go, if you're able to present while standing up, that will enhance your delivery. And that takes me to the delivery point. An area where we all want to work on in terms of delivery and evaluations. It's in terms of, I'll mention 2 things. Number 1, it's in terms of time. For instance, when evaluating a longer speech like the leadership speech or the educational speech, there's a lot that one may want to consider, but in the interest of time, which we're given 2 to 3 minutes, you end up squeezing all that evaluation. And I find that quite a challenge. But applying critical thinking and leadership, that is high performance leadership, you've noticed how the various evaluators were able to squeeze all that into this point. And beyond this evaluation, they're going to share the written evaluations with their speakers, and we keep improving based on that. Something else I mentioned, which will be my third thing, was about, for instance, tonal variation. I believe that's an area we all struggle with, especially for myself and maybe fellow gentlemen in the room. Even when telling a story, it's not easy to show the excitement when you're excited and to show the calmness or the sadness when it's a calm or sad situation. And that's an area where I'm challenging each and every one of us to keep working on, because I noticed across the speeches, that is something that really stood out. Besides that, this meeting was effectively run, as was mentioned, when evaluating the Toastmaster of the day. Right from the planning, that's where the leadership happens. All through the various roles, all the people accepting the roles on Easy Speak and on until the execution. There was seamless execution in the sense that even where there were challenges, like for instance, in terms of the timing at the beginning and a bit of highlighting here and there, they were done so seamlessly that it showed or it demonstrated collaboration between the various members, and that is leadership. Toastmasters and guests. Members of leadership speak, and fellow Toastmasters. I invite you to apply critical thinking in your evaluation, to apply high performance leadership in your life. It shouldn't be just at Toastmasters, but it needs to go beyond Toastmasters. With that, it has been a pleasure evaluating this meeting. And at this point, I need to refer to yes, I hand it back to the Toastmaster of the day. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Thank you to all the evaluators. Now I will ask the Zoom master to please share the result of the polls. Best effort speaker, please.
I don't think they are ready. So
While they are preparing,
yes.
Thank you. While they are preparing, I will ask Toastmaster Renan to come and to give his thought on the meeting today.
Hello, Toastmasters. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. When we think of high-performance leadership, we often imagine someone charismatic, confident, and in control. But real high-performance leadership is much deeper than that. It's not just about driving results. It's about inspiring people to become the best version of themselves. As for our TMOD Youselee, she shared that we can look no further than the world of team sports, soccer, ice hockey, and more. Think of the Brazilian and Argentinian soccer teams, as she mentioned, or a well-coordinated ice hockey team. Usually shared that we watch them not just for the goals or the wins, but for the beauty in their play, the tactics, and the unity they show on the field. Also, we heard a lot more about in our Toast and education speeches. High performance team behind of it is a high performing leader, someone like Lionel Messi, who trained relentlessly to become one of the greatest soccer players and a hockey great player of all time, Wayne Gretzky. I'm not sure with the pronunciation. They're not just star players, but an example of quiet, motivating leadership, lifting their team through trust, discipline, and accountability. Fellow Toastmasters guess these two athletes reflect and we're learning in what we're learning in Toastmasters, especially in today's education session as shared by Brahm. One mission, clear roles, relentless training, and mutual trust. Great teams don't happen by accident. They are built through purpose and leadership. So today, think of ourselves as both as a player and a leader. Let's strive not just for good, but for excellence, pushing beyond indifference towards outstanding. Because in every speech we give and every role we take, we're already practicing high performance leadership, shaping ourselves and others to perform at their best. That's all, and back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Youselee.
Thank you, Toastmaster Venen. Thank you for your thought on the theme today. Madam Zoom Master or the peer, are you ready to share the result for the polls? If not, I will do my summary and we will share the result later on.
Thank you to minutes, please. Just a minute. Let me see if it's ready.
Okay. Thanks to all of you for, I see one microphone open. Toastmaster Brahm, Memone, do you have? You have the lead if you have something to say. I see your microphone open.
All right. So if you want me to speak, I shall speak, my dear. But Madam Zoom Master, please spotlight me, and we will worry about the certificates later on, because the PR Master is Terrence, and he was also the GE. So I think that's where we have. So if you can remove Atul. Hi, Atul. How are you? So good to see you on the screen. And so, you know, I don't have any emotional constipation today, Atul, but we'll take care of that with a red pill. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here as the president of the club to invite actually the vice president of membership, who is Leah Musunga, and who is right here with us today. Leah, are you there?
Yes, I'm right here.
Yes. Leah, welcome. VP of membership.
Good day,
So we will
everybody.
wait for Leah to be spotlighted, as the Zoom master is, I know, doing 10 different things right now. Apologize. Leah, how are you?
I'm all right.
Yeah, all the way from Botswana. I'm. It's like 5 degrees here in Canada right now, where I am. How hot is where you are?
No, it's actually becoming a bit chilly. That's why I've had to don a jacket today.
Chile is how many degrees for you?
20 degrees.
A couple of days ago, it was 17 degrees. We were like sweating. It is so hot. Anyways, so we have quite a number of guests here with us today, and one of the guests that I've been interacting with is very interesting. You would like to know that, Leah, is Frida. And why? Because she's from my hometown, Mombasa, and we've been speaking in Swahili in the chat privately, of course. So please spotlight Frida, and then Leah can speak to the rest of the guests. I will just speak to Frida because she's from my hometown. I've been talking to her quite a bit. Frida, are you there? And you put on your video so we can spotlight you.
Hello, colleagues. How are
Hey,
you?
karibu.
Good evening. How are you, Mkwad?
I'm doing well.
I'm
Listen,
from Kenya. It's a
yeah.
pleasure joining this club today. It's a good club. I'm planning to be a member. Maybe I do all one in the future. Thank you so
Superb.
much. Thank you. I
We look
enjoyed
forward to
every
it.
session and a bit of it.
Well, you know, we can't see you, but I can see the fan running in the ceiling there. But Frida, it's so good to see you. And how do you what street food do you enjoy in Mombasa? Because it's famous for street food, right?
I have network challenges. It's raining over here. I can't hear you. You're not audible enough. It's really raining, so we have network issues. Allow
Not a
me to
problem,
speak
Frida.
more next time.
I have you already communicated with me on WhatsApp. We'll continue that conversation. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for showing the interest in Leadership Speak. Thank you. My favorite street food in Mombasa, for those who know Swahili, Irene, nyama choma, na mishkaki, na biryani. Right? Over to you, Leah, with
It's
all the
true.
other guests. Take over.
Yes, I was actually trying to see if some of the other guests who had completed our guest book were still here. So as I was scrolling through our participant list, I can't seem to see some of the others. I was looking for Robert. I was looking for Anne. I was looking for Evans. I don't seem to see them anymore on the chat. I think yeah, it appears most of them I think have already dropped off from what I'm seeing. Yeah, the ones who completed the guest book.
We have a Catherine Nyaga, who is not a Toastmaster, but she completed the guest book. So spotlight Catherine there. I can see her. I think she's here, right? Can you zoom master? Oh yeah, there she is.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, sorry. Hello, Catherine.
Hello, how are you? Nice to be here. Thank you.
Yes. So you're not yet a Toastmaster?
No, I'm not. I was
but
invited
how?
by a Toastmaster here in Mombasa.
All right. How did you find our meeting today?
I loved it. It was perfect.
Yes.
I'd like to join. I mean, it seems interesting. If it's online, I wouldn't mind joining.
Yeah, as it was stated at the beginning, we're here to study communication and leadership. So this is definitely a place to come if those are some things that you want to pursue. So I would definitely encourage you to join a local Toastmasters club. And once you have completed your first 3 levels, you're definitely welcome to join us here at Leadership Speak because yeah, we are an advanced club. So we want to make sure at least you have already covered your foundation. And then by the time you join us, now you're wanting to elevate your communication and leadership skills. So
Thank
looking
you.
forward to you come, but you're free to come and attend our meetings. We're here every Saturday. So looking forward to you, yeah, visiting us again.
Thank you.
Leah, you know, I have a message, a private message from Brenda Edwin from Uganda. She can't come on, she says, because she's cooking right now. So, and she hasn't put anything in the guest book, but she wants to join. So I've sent her my WhatsApp number, which I will, when I communicate with her, I'll pass that on to you, Leah.
All right. Okay. Okay.
But I wonder what she's cooking. Like, is it matoke? If you're in Uganda, you know what matoke is. Ta-da! Over to you, Leah.
All right. So I guess if if there are not any other new members or new guests, sorry, if there are no other guests or
we
are
have
there any visiting guests, like a recurring guest, would love to hear from you.
Now we also have Arjun Gerritsen. I've never seen Arjun Gerritsen before in our meeting. So Arjun, are you there? Can you hear us? And there's Arjun, and then let's see who else can I spot here. Let me check out my telescope. And there's Arjun. How are you, Arjun?
Good.
Where are you from, and what brings you here today?
I'm from the Netherlands. I'm looking for leadership and how to improve. I'm also VPPR in my club. Notice how things can improve.
Wonderful. And I see that you have filled in our guest book, Arjun. So just checking what you've said in our guest book is you don't want to join Leadership Speak, but you've completed that. So that's all right. But if you're thinking of joining Leadership Speak, Leah is the Vice President of Membership.
Sorry, joining what precisely?
Joining the club.
Okay, joining.
Yes, you are free to reach out to me, and but I've seen, like from what you had completed, I think, like, as Brahm is saying, from what you had completed in the guest book, at least you have left your email. We'll definitely continue maybe to reach out to you in case you decide you do want to join the club.
Sure.
Yeah.
Leah, there's also your namesake here. Her name is Leah Minja from Dar es Salaam.
I saw that.
She's been at our meeting several times, right? Leah Minja.
Yeah,
I will excuse myself, and Leah, it's all yours.
Hi, Leah. Leah, in terms of how you.
Hi, Leah. It's nice to connect once again, and pleasure to be here as a visiting Toastmaster.
As a visiting Toastmaster. Yes. How did you find our meeting today?
It's quite very insightful, and it's a topic that is relatable to me, especially that I'm working from project. So I oversee a number of projects and programs in my country. So high performance team creation is very crucial to my role. And I enjoyed especially the presentation from Brahm. It's quite of a high-tech one. Maybe someday he'll share some tips on how he did that, but I enjoyed every aspect of this meeting. It's well accomplished, I must say. Thanks.
Leah, listen, Leah, if you become a member, I'll teach you personally the high tech.
I know that, but yeah, I need to acquire a certain level. I already communicated there. Once I reach that, I will surely become a member. So I'm working towards.
Wonderful. You know what? I will ask Atul to keep an eye on your progress, because I know Atul is from your club, right? You're in his club?
I'm president, and I am vice president membership. So yeah.
Wow, we would love to have you. Of course, Atul, make sure that Leah Minja is on track to becoming our member here. Atul, thank you so much. Over to you, Leah. Leah to Leah.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Leah, for keep on coming back. Sorry, I thought someone had unmuted themselves. Okay. Just trying to go through the list again and seeing if I've missed anybody. I think the rest of the people must be our members or not yet guests. So I think those are all the people. I hope I haven't skipped anyone, Brahm, have I?
Well, I think we are done here. And I got Brenda's email that she sent me privately. I will copy that and I'll send it to you, Leah, and so on. But ladies and gentlemen, I was right. Brenda is cooking matoke today in Uganda. Woohoo! What else could you be cooking if you're in Uganda, right? And Baron knows where is Baron? Baron here? He knows exactly what I'm talking about. And if you're from Uganda, you'd know. And some Kenyans would know too. Irene, you know Matoke, right? Hey, Terrence, yes, thank you. All right, all yours there.
All right, and I
Merci.
think at this point, we'll then hand over to our president, I guess,
No,
for the
not,
closing
not the
remarks.
president. Back to the TMOD.
Oh, sorry, Toastmaster of the day. I thought her role was done. Back to
We
you,
don't need the president.
Youselee. Back to you, our Toastmaster of the day, who has definitely made a huge accomplishment
Youselee.
in the meeting today.
Thank you, Madam Vice President of Membership and dear President. Thanks to all of you for coming, and thanks to the all world players, especially the speakers. Without you, we won't have this wonderful meeting today. And thank you. I realized that during all the speeches, all of you have presented something regarding high performance leadership, how to work on our emotion to do not emotionally constipated, how to be present, to have winning mindset, and use communication with transparency. All of you talk about leadership communication. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to Toastmaster Brahm Memone as well, our educational speaker, for encouraging us to start by the excellence and go above, go beyond. Now, I will ask our peer for today to share the result of the poll. Thank you, Terrence. Congratulations to the best effort speaker, Toastmaster Brahm Memone, and congratulations to the best effort evaluator, Toastmaster Vinod Panicker. And congratulations to all of you. Thanks again for coming. And see you next Saturday for another wonderful, impactful meeting. Now, I declare this meeting adjourned.
You can announce stop the recording.
Oh, please, Madam Zoom Master, you can stop the recording.